I found this little brook trout up in the river there. Not a river, a trickle of a stream. And the stream was pretty much dried out, and he was just kicking a little bit in a pool of mud. He had no water left, it had all evaporated, but he won't survive. But I brought him down to the pond here anyway. He's lost a lot of color and such, but I mean, he's still breathing, but I'm pretty certain he's brain dead. But I'll give it a few minutes, see what happens. There he is. I'm gonna leave now. He's breathing, and I think the problem for this little fella is he's been out of water too long, and I think most of his slime coat is gone. But I mean, he's making an effort to stay upright. He's come around a little bit, but I don't think he'll survive. I mean, it's a gallant effort, but there's a lot of discoloration and his slime coat is gone. But the fact that he was even breathing at all when I walked by is just somewhat astounding. But I mean, he's really fighting to stay upright, so I mean, he's in better shape than when I found him, but there's just a lot of discoloration, and I don't think he'll make it. Poor little trout, but well, in nature nothing goes to waste anyway. If he doesn't survive, it's a meal for an eel. So, but anyway, I'm pretty familiar with this area now. I just took a shortcut through this thick woods for about 1/4 of a kilometer. It's really dense, and you know, 2 weeks ago I wouldn't have tried this, but I've kind of got a mental layout of the land here now. See the other gully there? But so I've pretty much oriented myself with this area now. It's not much of a problem for navigation. It's not like that last episode where I was lost. But yeah, so that didn't work out too well. There was no trout at all. I didn't even see any break, and there was tons of insects in the water. But you know, that's it. Like I said, it's a process of elimination, and I've eliminated that body of water. It's not productive at all, and there's no fish in it. So, you know, at one time, probably, I don't know, who knows, probably there's a remnants there of a beaver house, so I guess it was a beaver made pond. But the water levels are so low. I mean, gee, there's no rain this year at all. All the streams are drying up, and that's just evident by that you know, that little fish I just found there. He was 5.5, 6 inches, 5 inches for sure, if not a little bit bigger. But you know, the water's all dried up. It's probably pretty much indicative of what's to come, you know. But it's a gorgeous day, and I'm gonna try something else now. See if I can't find some trout somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you don't get rain. 2 weeks ago, this was a stream, and it was, you know, fairly high. Had a good water level, but as of now, everything's pretty much dried up. I mean, it is flowing, but again, it's underneath. And boy, we haven't had much rain this year. affects the fish exactly, but obviously they don't move much, you know, between bodies of water. But I can see a school of trout. They're just all sitting in that quarter pocket there, just behind that white rock. There's probably a school of 10, and I mean, for all intents and purposes, those trout are pretty much trapped. I mean, they don't really have anywhere to go. You know, yeah, they can scoot, hide under a rock and whatnot, but there's really nowhere for them to go. But you know, that's the effects of no rain. I haven't done any salmon fishing this year, but if this keeps up and as the water warms, I mean, a lot of the smaller rivers will flow. So, kind of sad, really. Pretty much the first gully I ever discovered. It seemed to be the gully with the most potential, and I've decided to venture back there today. But wow, it was cloudy all morning, quite overcast, but the sky seems to have broken. You can still see the remnants of storm and thunder clouds, but as you can tell, the sky, has just opened up, and it's all become very clear. I think that may have a bit of a negative impact on the fishing, but it's fairly windy. As you can see, the clouds are moving fairly fast, but that's a tendency. That tends to be what happens as you know, one front moves in favor of another. High and low pressure, I guess. Makes it windy. But yeah, I'm going to make my way to that other gully there now and see if I can't coax a few fish out. The last time I was here, there was it was overcast and there was a good hatch of mayflies on, and I think that really helped. But you never know. I may be able to coax a few up. But it's a glorious day, beautiful. It's very scenic. Newfoundland is one rugged environment, I gotta say that much. But everywhere you look, there's life. So it's absolutely gorgeous. Speaking of rugged, this is the provincial flower. It's a picture plant. It's got a unique look. I quite like it. The thing with the picture plant is the Newfoundland topsoil is quite sparse, and like much of the land is void of nutrition, like real valuable nutrition. So this plant has come up with a unique way of surviving in this you know, nutritionally deprived land. It has these tubes, as you can see right here. I don't know if the camera can pick it up or not, but if you look, let's see, if you look here, you can see fine white hairs, and they're all down sloping. So you can see in these tubes itself there's like liquid water, and what happens is insects get trapped in here, and either by attraction to the water. I don't know that the picture plant supplies a a sweetened liquid or anything. I don't really know, but anyway, insects get trapped in these tubes, and with the downsloping hairs, they find it difficult to get back out, and they drown in that water. And of course, their decaying bodies supply this plant with nutrition. It's quite a unique way of surviving in this rugged area, and they do quite well here. They're everywhere. This one's really fresh looking plant. As you can see here, the outside is really hard, like it's got a shell look, but the inside, it's probably not long bloomed. The inside is, these petals in here are still quite soft and velvety. But yeah, it's a uniquely beautiful plant, and it has a very unique way of surviving. I did hook one here. He's about 8 inches or so. Beautiful little fish. Really fat. There he is. Look how fat that fish is. Wow. It's about 7.5, 8 inches, but he's really thick through, and really full of life. There he goes. About 30 minutes ago, I showed you a sky that had pretty much broken open and was quite blue. And most of the sky was indeed void of gray cloud. That clearing has since moved on in this direction, and what's following is a quite ominous looking sky. Those are some really dark clouds, and they're headed this way. This darkened sky may indeed help with the fishing, but it looks like it's going to give way and rain. That's not so bad. It's fairly warm out today. It's probably 20, 22 degrees, so it's not much of a concern. I bought this new coat. It's camo, which I don't know. When it comes to anglers, I find camouflage looks a bit tacky. Not so bad on a hunter. You know, given its intent, but you know, the price was excellent. I got it for $44, and it's breathable and rainproof, so I certainly couldn't pass it up. It's really light and comfortable as well, so you know, it's going to serve that purpose. It's not really my look, but you know, for what it does is what I'm really after. But like I was saying, it looks as though it's certainly going to pour. Those are some really dark gray clouds. But like the fishing hasn't been so good with that bright sky anyway, so hopefully now that it's starting to darken up a little, I may do a little better. I got a really nice trout here, probably 9.5, 10 inches. Well, yeah, 9.5 for sure. Gorgeous fish. Look at that. Beautiful. You see how black he is? I'll show you the reason for that in just a moment. But I want to get her back here. Swallowed that quite deep, but I don't... Just pierced the skin, really. And I don't see any bleeding or anything. But there she is. She's about 9 inches. I'll let her go there. This is what I would consider typical habitat for a brook trout. Look at that. It's a ditch's width. It's 3.5, 4 feet across, 5 at the widest, and it's probably 4 or 5 feet deep. And it's got these in-cut banks. It's what we refer to in Newfoundland again as a gully, but it's a really tiny gully. And brook trout thrive in this kind of habitat. I just hooked 4 trout in that little hole. 2 were probably 6 inches, 1 was probably 7.5, and of course that one was about 8 inches. Beautiful trout. The reason that fish was so black is because this is a very dark environment, and these waters are very dark. Like once the trout tucking under these banks, very little light. You know, there's very little light, and they just blacken up and match their environment quite well. Again, this little gully is about 2 foot across, and I managed to hook this lovely little brookie in it. You know, brook trout love this kind of habitat. They just love it. There he is. Just a little fella, you know, 6.5, 7 inches, but again, that stream was no more than 2 feet wide. The situation that we were just fishing, where the little gully is, you know, very, very deep, probably 4 to 6 feet deep, yet it's only 2 or 3 feet wide. I mean, oftentimes you'll find the bigger fish within a system, they monopolize such areas because it's perfect ambush territory. I mean, you can well imagine a frog or a small shrew or mouse swimming across such a narrow channel, and you know, these bigger brookies, 9, 10 inches, 11 inches, whatever, they just ambush up and you know, devour these little creatures. That's typically what you'll find, that they'll you know, they'll hold these prime ambush grounds. But yeah, it's a beautiful day again now, and as you can see, the sun is up there behind those thin clouds, and you know, the fishing is slacking off a bit as a result, but it's a glorious day. The pond here is probably 10 inches or so. Well, 9.5 anyway. Beautiful fish. Oh, there he goes. Another decent trout down in the pond here. Wow, it's a fantastic body of water. It's producing some good sized brookies just here in the daytime alone. I can't imagine in the evening. This trout again is 9.5, 10 inches. Well, 9 inches anyway. Look at that. What a beautiful fish. Absolutely gorgeous. And it's 10 to 2 in the afternoon, so that's a good thing. I don't know what the evening fishing would be like, but it certainly wouldn't be bad.